Luke Spence.
Here.
Henry Corbin.
Here.
Charlie Good.
Here.
Jason Sampson.
Here.
Andy Kelly.
Here.
Sandy Eric.
Here. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jason, second by Henry. Any discussion? Please vote. The agenda is approved. Item 4, approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Sandy, second by Andy. Any discussion? Please vote. Approved. Item 5, public forum. Time set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. No action may be taken. First up, we have Wade.
Good evening. I'm here with the Nevada Public Arts Commission to just give you an annual report update on what we've been up to. And the comments that I have prepared are in your packet, so if you want me to read them word for word, I can really do that, but I'll do my best to stay on the script. So as mentioned, I'm here representing the Nevada Public Arts Advisory Commission, and the members that are currently with our board are Mindy Buck, who could not attend tonight, Jason Schneider, Janice Gammon, Nancy Port, and Council Advisor Sandy Eric. And we are looking for other board members, so if anyone within the sound of my voice is interested in such a thing, we meet once a month for an hour and we talk about a lot of cool things. So reach out and hopefully you can get some information. So during the past year, we've collaborated on some finished projects and discussed and planned for future arts events and projects. The most visible one is the mural on Main Street, on the Main Street building, that we collaborated at the very beginning of partially getting that planned out and so forth. And it began with collaboration with a couple members of the Nevada leadership class last year who approached us about this idea and connected to State Bank. And that evolved into collaborating with the groups, Leadership Nevada, State Bank, and Main Street Nevada, seeking funds for the mural, determining what that mural may cost, selecting artists that would be considered for that, and then determining the timeline for the completion of the mural. And as things progressed in that particular project, it did include a application for an Iowa Arts Council grant that was due very early, and then we had to wait a while until we were notified that our application wasn't going to move forward. That was pretty much the source of the majority of that funding. Fortunately, Main Street Nevada also had access to some funds, so they took the planning that we had done up to that point and saw it to completion. And everyone I've talked to is very pleased with that location and the look of that mural, and are excited about bringing lots of other things to the city. So some of the other details of that project I listed here under collaboration and the funds, and then I want to kind of talk a little bit because we really did dive into the collaboration part under the artist selection. Because when you're going to do a big project like this, you want it to be something that's going to have the idea that will be sustainable for many years, as also hold up to weathering and so forth and so on. And so we, as our group here, had to do a lot of our own individual research and digging around on the internet for various public arts groups in the area and finding out how is this done? What is the best way to do that? And so we created, or were part of what is known as a call for artists. And simply that is letting artists around an area that we identify, hey, this is something we want to do. Are you interested? This is what we're looking for. And so we had some replies to that. And through that process, 2 artists were selected for a final interview that did include collaborators with Main Street Nevada. And it was a Zoom interview. And then both of those had different artistic ideas that both were great. And one of the artists that we interviewed was the one that ended up doing the actual work. And we're very happy with finding that. We've kept information on, especially the other artists that we considered for things that may come up in the future. So currently, we have additional arts projects in various stages of preparation. And we are interested in murals, but we don't want it to be limited to just like, they're the people that decide where murals go. Because one of the core goals of our group is just kind of looking at the name of our commission. It's the Nevada Public Arts Commission. So trying to determine areas across the entire community that would benefit from including some public arts, because lots of surveys have shown that public arts are something that uplifts the quality of life and enhances the community when they're writing things up about why should we be coming to Nevada. We've got people that were going to come with this potential business or move here for properties. What else is there to do except live and go to work? So we've got, that's one part, we think, spreading it around the area of the community. And so some of these ideas that we have, the projects, we're just in the very discussion phases. Hosting an art fair for local artists to display and sell their art. And again, these are gems of an idea, so if you want more details, feel free to reach out to me, but details are, we're in the great thing about working with people in a public arts commission, ideas flow. But then it's like, when? Well, I don't know, but I got lots of other ideas. So, but we do have, progress toward that as well. Collaborating with City Commission to develop another mural. That is, another city organization has approached us about that with a long-range timeline. And also another one is assisting the Nevada Public Library in displaying art in their building. And so we've talked with the public library director a few times and trying to help them get some areas that would display local art, both from schools and local artists. And so I did kind of add at the bottom and the back of the second page, or on the second page, if you don't have a turnover there, just some research from the Americans for the Arts organizations that talk about public art that's freely accessible, providing an intersection between the past, present, and future, between disciplines and between ideas. And linked in the digital version that you folks have in the council is a document from the group American for the Arts about why public art matters. But that will provide more details on the benefits of supporting public arts and helping cities develop a stronger sense of identity and a sense of place. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And if you have any questions for myself or our great board here, we will entertain those questions or comments.
When do you guys meet, for anybody who's interested?
We are regularly scheduling meetings for fourth Thursday of the month, but not in March, because March gets to be the fourth Thursday is like everybody's gone. But So that meeting that will be our next one. That'll be, I believe the date is April 2nd, but otherwise it's the fourth Thursday. And if we can book it far enough advance, the library, the Nevada Public Library meeting room is where that we held our meetings. But if you don't know, that place gets booked up like a lot in the advance. So, but we want it to be in a public space so that people that are interested won't have like a locked door to contend with or things like that. So. Well, we truly thank the mayor and the city council for supporting the arts in Nevada. And if you have any other ideas, like I said, we take in all sorts of ideas. And whether they move forward, that's kind of where we try to assist and connect, collaborate with others to help ideas that seem to have some movement behind them get to take place. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. All right, next, I can't read the name, but it's about the Horatio Drive movie.
That's me.
All right.
Jan Gammon, 1441 West 7th Street. I'm retired now, but when I was working, I worked for Prairie Rivers of Iowa as the Lincoln Highway Heritage Byway Coordinator. It started out as a state byway, and I took it to the national level, so it's a national scenic byway now. Then, well, in that position, I helped with the park out here, getting the banners and the interpretive panels and all of that going out there. I also talked to you about the 1919 Army convoy when it came through town and led the Lincoln Highway Parade that year when it celebrated in 2019, the 100th year of that. So I'm retired now, but I volunteered for the Jefferson Highway Heritage Byway Council and serve as their president. We are not a 501c3, we're just a loose group. And I've been working with the new Lincoln Highway Heritage Byway Coordinator at Prairie Rivers. Her name's Jeannie Howe. And we were trying to figure out a way that we could help celebrate America's 250th this year. So we kind of looked around at different ideas, and we thought, well, we want it transportation related. And we came up with a movie called Horatio's Drive. It's about a guy who took a transcontinental trip in 1903 before there were really roads. And the movie is done by Ken Burns, and it's a PBS movie. So it was released in 2003, so that would be 100 years after this guy went on his trip. So we would like to show this movie in theaters along both of our byways. And since Nevada has both of those roads, with the Lincoln Highway starting in Times Square and going to San Francisco, and the Jefferson starting in Winnipeg and in Canada and going to New Orleans, they meet at Colo, at Reed and Island Corner. They conjoin and they come into Nevada. The Jefferson and the Lincoln go on into Ames, but another version of it goes south of town for the Jefferson and to Cambridge and then connects with 69 again. Where the Lincoln Highway goes straight west, then the Jefferson turns in Ames and heads south on 69 into Des Moines and on to Missouri. Now the Lincoln Highway was formed in 1913, so it's 10 years after this guy took his trip, and the Jefferson was in 1915, because they saw the success of the Lincoln Highway and how it brought people around America to travel and whatnot. And that one was, the Jefferson was promoted by Mr. Meredith of Meredith Publishing in Des Moines. He was a big proponent of this highway. So we would like to show this movie about early travel in America. And we have talked to the Burns office. They can either supply it as a digital copy or a DVD, and I've talked to the Camelot Theater, and they can only do DVDs, so that's fine. They would like to show it on the 4th of July after the parade, and Burns' office is looking for $1,000 per showing. So I would like to ask the city if we could tap into tourism dollars for this one showing. It would be, because it's a PBS show, you cannot charge the public, so it would be free for anyone to come in and see. The Camelot would still be able to run their concessions and make some funds, and it gives people in Nevada something to do after the parade. Do I need
check-
to do
I did-
anything else?
No, well done. I did check in our tourism fund, and we do have $1,000 for that if the council decides. I know we can't take action tonight, but I'd be more than happy to have it on the next agenda for your guys' discussion and action for that.
And I don't know if Nevada had any other 250th plans or not. I hadn't really seen anything, but I think this would be a good way to celebrate.
I know there are a few groups that are actually thinking around that time doing something along those lines, so I think it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jordan, you want to put that on?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
All right, anybody else for the public forum?
I had asked to speak at the public forum, but I don't feel a need any longer. I had the pleasure of meeting the engineer over here, I guess, for the project, who doesn't know it, but we're old friends, or at least his parents are acquaintances. And his grandfather was a great hardware store owner. So he addressed my concerns, and that took care of that.
Okay. All right. And seeing none others, I'm going to close the, I'm going to go ahead and close the public forum. Moving on to item 6, ordinance number 1076, an ordinance amending chapter 69 parking regulations of the city code by adding language pertaining to no parking zones, second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Andy, second by Luke. Any discussion? Please vote. Approved. Item 7, ordinance number 1077, an ordinance amending chapter 65, stop or yield required of the city code to require stops in additional intersections, second reading.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Sandy, second by Henry. Any discussion? Please vote. Approved. Item 8, resolution number 53, a resolution approving bond purchase agreement, providing for the issuance of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, series 2026A, and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Luke, second by Henry. Any discussion? Please vote. Approved. Moving on to item 9, resolution number 54, a resolution to enter into a 2080 agreement with the City of Ames for use and support of a solid waste reclamation, recycling, and disposal system.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Sandy, second by Jason.
Or
Charlie, sorry, second by Charlie. Any discussion? Please vote.
Are they, do we have a timeline on when we'll know rates or anything like that, or is that? outside
The
of-
rates for the solid waste are in here. The rate per capita is not going to change it.
I guess I meant
hauler.
the recycling is what I was.
The recycling, so this has nothing to do with the recycling.
the recycling we have to provide, right? We pick up, provide
Yeah,
for
we-
that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll either have our own contractor for that, or we'll go with Ames. And so Ames did provide some of their initial numbers. I need to reach out to separate haulers and see if they can provide either the same, cheaper, or what route we do. And once I have all of those numbers, I'll be able to put it together in a spreadsheet so everyone can review it, and then we can make that decision at that time.
Any other discussion? Please vote.
It's approved unanimously. I'm not gonna get it to pop up.
Okay, it was approved.
Unanimous.
Item 10, resolution authorizing economic development grant to Nevada Economic Development Council, Inc. So, Brenda, do you want to say anything about this?
Yeah, so this agreement is to disperse our LMI funds. And so our low to moderate income is what LMI stands for. We receive money, the state requires us to set aside a certain amount, 48% of any TIF district or any money that we receive for a TIF agreement, and that is 48%. And so with that 48%, we've been accumulating money for several years, and you can only use that for low to moderate income projects. And so you can't use that for sewer or water or sidewalks or anything along those. Typically you have to use those for housing projects. And so this agreement outlines 3 different options to utilize those funds. One is for building houses, one is for home buyer assistance, and one is for renovations for landlords that rent to LMI families.
Do you have anything to add, Brenda?
So Jordan called me this afternoon. You might remember that I was here in the fall, I believe it was, and we laid out this potential pilot program for a couple of years. And this is, again, something that not other communities are doing. There are bits and pieces that we've taken from other communities, but really what we're doing is proposing a partnership and a pilot that would enable this group, as well as the Economic Development Board, to evaluate the impact on some of these programs and utilize the funds that have been set aside for a while. Actually, I would tell you, set aside's up to 50.07, so continues to go up, and so there'll be additional funds that continue to flow into this pot. So while the pilot has some substantial dollars tied to it in terms of projections, we're going to continue to see an inflow of funding because of the strong pipeline of housing. Again, when you can't meet it within a subdivision, that has to be set aside into this fund. So I wanted to make sure I was here in case there were questions that maybe I could answer. Jennifer's here as well for NEDC. If there's feedback we need to take back to the board on things, certainly we're excited about this partnership. think it'll be again, we'll be able to sit back to say what's been helpful, what moved the needle in terms of things here in the community. So
One of the things that, just a comment that I had was, and we kind of discussed this beforehand, was I felt like 5,000 was
okay.
on the low side for first
Home buyer assistance. Okay, yeah, no, Jordan did share that with me. And so one of the things I would tell you, we set that really because the Board of Supervisors, the trust fund in the county has had this $5,000 fee. So I don't have a concern, and we can take this back to NEDC and say, let's bump that maybe up to 10,000. And then, again, we're here to pilot and evaluate. So again, by getting a bit aggressive on that number, Mayor, I think we're going to be able in a couple year period to say, did it help put people into homes that maybe wouldn't have been able to, or maybe go in and get some of the repair, work with their bank to get repairs made before they go into a house. So I think that really is a great suggestion, and I don't anticipate any concern at all in the NEDC board agreeing that makes sense.
That was my main concern. I just wanted to kind of see a balancing there for a little bit more for the buyer than the developer.
Yeah, and the other thing Jordan and I talked about this afternoon that, again, I appreciate, for one thing, this has dragged on and for a while, and it by no fault of anybody, it's just our bond councils are just really busy. Pipelines are full across the state of Iowa, and there's only 2 of them. So regarding transparency and conflict of interest, and so I think that's a good conversation to have with the NEDC board, even beyond this fund. A number of the boards I sit on, that's one of the things we have to disclose is where we would have inherent conflict on decision making. And so are we going to avoid it in a town where we've got every banker in town involved and a number of dirt movers and builders? But I think, again, being sensitive to that and being transparent so that if the question gets asked, we can provide you all as well as our own board that information. So I'll have Jennifer reach out to an attorney, and I think in general, beyond just this, we should have a conflict of interest policy. So thanks for thinking of that.
It was a great program. Thank you for.
You bet. We'll see. We'll come back. I mean, we won't wait for 2 years to come back and give you results. I think it's going to be important for all of us to keep an eye on how this is working. So,
Andy?
Is there going to be a vote tonight?
I think you're going to take it back to the NEDC to try to increase the amount, correct?
We can actually.
Can we move on
we
that?
can
I
move
think
on
you guys
that.
would act on it, and then when
Yeah,
we sign it.
You can approve it with those changes, and then
Well,
we can make those changes.
Mine's gonna be discussion only. I'm gonna be abstaining from this, and most of this impacts my household or can. And in our conversations, I told you we wouldn't be taking part in the rental thing. I'm a little ambivalent towards that. There's a lot here that I've got feelings on, but they're only gonna be my opinion. It's nice to see at least the idea of landlords in here. I feel that they've had their competition subsidized in the last couple of years, and now we're looking at who's here. I'm glad we're looking at it. I don't know that I feel it necessary to give grants to everybody if we're gonna do this. The only part of it I'm really in favor of much is the first time buyer buy down. And I say that disclosing my wife's a realtor, it could affect her. I'm not gonna vote. But a first time home purchaser is going to have a pool of everybody's home in Nevada to purchase from. That everybody that has stake in Nevada right now is in the running to sell it, including developers that can sell a home that meets the criteria. And it's, I know we're talking about increasing it a little bit. Big disparity between the developer amount and the first time home buyer amount. And it takes away a lot of the conflict of interest talk if all you have is first time home buyer assistance. That moves the needle on all home sales, that people that are established are able to more easily sell their home. People are able to take ownership in Nevada. My feeling is the first time home buyer program keeps the dollars in town, keeps them in the pockets of people living in town, and spreads them out through the developers, and it's the fairest way to do it because everybody has an equal opportunity to sell their homes. I'm ambivalent towards the landlord part of it. I won't be taking part. If we're going to be doing part of this, I'd much rather see home buyer assistance than development assistance.
I would have to agree with that.
Brenda,
I'm for more money down for first-time home buyers, yes.
why was there, because there was a pretty big disparity between the 30,000 for the
So
developer.
again, this is a multifaceted program, and Andy, you are correct. It is designed to listen to some of the things we've heard together over the last 12 months and trying to come up with a strategy to be helpful on a number of things. It's a pilot program. The other thing we're hoping to do is to utilize, there's specifically most recently Slater has been doing a program very similar to what we're proposing in terms of essentially working to keep a house cost under $300,000 for a new home. And so that's really, we've had some success. Actually, JD's here with Keystone. We had some success on houses that we did over on D, am I right? See, I've been out of it a little while, but on D with a great amount of success. Those whole houses sold before the drywall phase, and all three were new to the community. So again, it's wanting to keep some other options on the new housing front. And again, it's got a lot of things going. That's why it's a pilot program is what we're proposing, so that we can evaluate and consider are these making a difference. But really, the developer one is really geared to encouraging and working with builders to try to keep houses under $300,000.
So this would also be saying that if we were to help landlords keep their rent down by giving them some money, that would give people more options to rent at a lower cost.
So I think I've been pretty open on this, is that while we're adding new rental, we have to keep everything we have. And so this is a way to kind of keep units hopefully more attainable and give us a wider range of what we have available for rental opportunities here in the community of Nevada. So again, you'd have to look pretty hard to find one. So we're proposing things that necessarily haven't been done in other spots. There's going to be some funding available through the Story County Housing Trust Fund that by creating this opportunity, we'll have something we can match and leverage some additional funds to specifically support that rental program. So it covers a lot of fronts, and that's really what we were hearing from the different parts of the community.
For the rental part, would there be an amount of time that they have to keep their rental rates down?
It says
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
I had a question on that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of shared Andy's concerns with the money going to the landlords,
Yep.
but I'm assuaged by the 5 year. It's not a lock, but a 5 year where they have to keep it below that certain level. Do you know how do we monitor that
So,
rate? Make sure that they're actually doing that.
So I think every year there'll be a compliance report that goes out, and we'll ask for the current amounts. And I don't know if it's a secret shopper that we have that calls and asks for rents, but we will be collecting that data from the landlords that participate in the program. So
Do they get all that money right up front, or is it every year for those 5
no,
years?
that would go to make the improvements to the property right on the front side.
So what recourse would we have against them if, say, they don't keep the rent down?
Yeah, that's where we'll have a sub-agreement with
Okay.
them, Jason, that would describe probably the payback of prorated share.
Okay.
So the rates are actually, you can charge up to 80% of the fair market rates. And so generally early on, I did a little bit of a what if to see where some of our properties are, and we should be in pretty good shape to be able to stay underneath 80% of fair market rates. And again, we look at the whole county. So again, the rates and Ames are higher, so we get some of the advantage of that in the average.
Brenda, one of the goals of this also is that targeted population.
Mhm.
We haven't, we're always
Yeah.
talking about that we have not done that.
Like I said, I think the 3 programs will hit varying degrees of folks along that income spectrum. So, again, I think we just keep track of the results. We keep talking and tweak things as they come up with in partnership. We want this to be successful. And if it's not moving the needle, then maybe it's not a good use of the funds, but we aren't going to know until we try.
It isn't my problem, people building a house if they wanna sell it to somebody, you would think they're gonna build to sell. And if we continue to give them money and they don't have their price down low enough.
Well, they won't, if they don't keep their house, Charlie, underneath that rate, we will collect the money back with interest. So, and we'll get a real estate certification at the time of sale.
Cause I would rather give more money to the homeowner.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Andy?
I've been dreading this meeting. I'm not trying to be argumentative. But you said something, and I've got a little personal experience with it. You said we don't know if it will work. I was taking care of bank repos through the housing crash. And I feel that house sales were incentivized leading up to that. And then one of the things that kept Jim and I in business was me schlepping around, securing homes that went back to home steps, fixing them up, trying to get them ready for sale again. It was not pleasant work. But one of the things that I'm concerned about with incentivizing building with the city funds is we want to see if it moves the needle. If it helps, that's great. We have maybe a metric to see if it helps. But it can also hurt everybody that has homes for sale in town, that we're incentivizing building new homes to compete with the stock that's for sale. And through the housing crisis, Story County had the lowest unemployment rate in the nation. I'd mentioned it twice, a couple times, saw it on national news. And I view things as a different way. I was on council during the housing crash, and I was working with home repos during the housing crash. And I was pretty happy that we had more jobs than homes. And it's one thing to say we don't know if this program will work, but the program also, by saturating the market with homes that aren't owned by residents, is we can hurt all of the residents that want to sell a home. So I'm not trying to just argue it. I don't have a vendetta against it. I haven't made much of a secret about it. I don't know that building homes I view as economic development. I want to see manufacturing. I know that's tough. I understand people view it, and there's components to it. We've got a land sale, we've got development, we've got people coming in, new people. I don't like incentivizing new home building on the backs of everybody that's been in the community. If we're going to incentivize something, I'd prefer to see a buyer program, because that is competitive for every step of the ladder.
Another question I just came to me, is this for the new homes? Is it for developments we don't even have going yet, or with current developments that are in the works that maybe haven't broke ground on a house, would they be eligible? Who's eligible for that?
At this point in time, we haven't excluded new developments that haven't come, but in a 2-year period, I don't know that we would have a new subdivision and lots ready to go in a 2-year
So like some
period.
of the developments that are north,
Absolutely,
where homes
yes.
haven't broken
Yep,
ground would be
yep.
eligible?
Correct. Oak Park Estates, that, those developments.
And this would be for existing homes as well, correct? For the first time home buyer, correct?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd like to see the first time home buyer credit portion of this be raised to, I think when I spoke with Dan Colhane about this, he was talking somewhere in the area of 15 would make a much bigger splash than a $5,000, because that just doesn't really move the needle very much for home buyers. That's just my 2 cents.
So when it comes to a motion, do we need to approve this, but amend the home buyer assistance to up to 15, and then NEDC can go up to that if they?
Why wouldn't we just table it until they correct it?
You could go either path. So Exhibit A does have the numbers shown for each of the three different programs, one of which being the home buyer assistance. So you could move it with that recommendation or with that revision, or you could table it. Either is fine.
Guess I'll wait on the council for.
I'd move to approve it with the addition of, or changing the home buyer assistance to 15,000 for each.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Jason, a second by Sandy. Any other discussion on this? Andy's abstaining. Please vote. It's approved. 4 votes aye, 1 nay, 1 abstain. Next item. Thank you, Brenda.
Oh, you bet.
Next item is resolution number 56, a resolution approving agreement for maintenance and repair of primary roads and municipalities with Iowa Department of Transportation.
Move.
Second. Okay. Motion by Andy, second by Henry. Any discussion? Please vote. Approved. Item 12, resolution number 57, a resolution approving professional services agreement for municipal engineering services with WHKS and Company for 2026-27 street reconstruction program.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Luke, second by Henry. Any discussion?
This is for the 3 roads we've talked about.
So all of these agreements, they cover all of the projects that we're going to be doing this year and next year. And the reason we have all of these up here is because we are using the bond money to pay for the engineering. So yes, it's going to cover the ones that we have discussed as well as the ones that we are getting with the STP funds or the CERCA funds for next year.
I talked with Jordan earlier today about it, but I see the sidewalks for 2nd Street are on there. We talked about sidewalks on 11th Street being extended all the way to H. I think it's like one house worth of sidewalk that's goes down the whole road, stops a block away, stops for one house, and then ends there, and then we have that nice bike lane on H that doesn't have a connection for sidewalks. I was hoping that could get included. It sounds like it's in the works. There just might be some.
Yep, that is, and then for E Avenue, it is. We have been discussing that. They have to survey that and figure that out. The one issue I think we're gonna come across is the building on the far east of E Avenue. It protrudes out a little bit, and so we just have to measure all of that out and make sure we can get a sidewalk there. But it would be continuing the sidewalk on the south side of the road.
Great, thank you.
Are you talking about in front of on the north side, or are you talking about in front of the,
South side of E Avenue when we go to do that work. And then for the end, or for 11th Street, I believe he's talking about the one house that's on the corner of 11th and H. It's on the north corner. There's no sidewalk for like half a block.
okay.
And so that's the other option. And then for Second Street, we will be filling in and replacing some of the sidewalk that's there or that needs to be replaced. So that is part of the plan as well.
Andy?
I don't think I saw it on the scope of work. Are we looking at storm collectors?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Any other discussion? Please vote.
I'm not sure why.
Okay, it's approved. Item 13, resolution number 58, resolution approving professional services agreement for municipal engineering services with WHKS and Company for the 2027-28 street reconstruction program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Luke, second by Sandy. Any discussion? Please vote. It's approved. Our system's moving a little slow. Item 14, resolution number 59, resolution approving professional services agreement for municipal engineering services with WHKS and Company for trunkline sanitary sewer rehabilitation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Jason, second by Luke. Any discussion?
My machine went black.
Please vote.
Hold on, time
Oh,
out.
sorry.
My machine went black here. I lost my thing. Get back on there.
Oh yeah.
Clicked out of it or something.
It wants to update.
Bad timing.
Okay.
You're back.
All right, thank you.
Back.
14.
Get updated now.
All right.
14.
Please vote.
Does kind of freak you out when the whole thing goes good.
Okay, approved. All right, item 15, discussion and appropriate follow-up regarding the West 18th Street drainage.
So we formally went out and asked 3 different people. One of them backed out. One of them came in around 67,000, and then the third came in at 53,000. Our bid threshold is $62,000 for horizontal, and so we don't have to actually go out for a formal bid on this. And TK's is the one that came in at 53,000. So I do have 2 options: approve TK grading for the amount of 53,000, or we can go out for engineer design and do a formal bid. TK will be able to start working on this, I believe, tomorrow. So I know this has been an issue in the past, especially last year. We had a lot of flooding west of Airport Road. I mean, we had flooding all over, but that was another big area, and we've seen that in the past as well. So this will hopefully mitigate any of those future issues that we could have with that.
If I ask what exactly they'll be doing, would that be an easy question?
Yeah, so they're going to be putting basically they're going to be putting a concrete box in there, and they're going to connect one of the pipes to the south heading into the concrete box, and then there's going to be another pipe, a 12-inch pipe that goes to the east that connects to our manhole, and that's going to go into our retention pond. So one of the issues that we've been having is the pipe that was there has been crushed, and I don't know how long it was. It appears to be crushed when the pipeline came in. So if that's accurate, then that could be anywhere from 1930 to 1960s or something. So, yeah.
So this is gonna drain back into the retention pond south?
Yeah, because originally that is what the plan was. Before it was crushed, it was supposed to be going into that retention pond.
That's why it's always dry.
There's nothing to retain.
So, yeah, it will go back into that. And the reason we have to put that box in is to hit the elevation grades so we don't hit those pipes. And they will be there to make sure that we don't hit those pipes as well.
And these guys are low bid.
They were, correct.
And so the gas company's gonna be there when they dig, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they keep a very
Or one
close
call,
eye.
send somebody,
One call,
put
okay.
them in a lawn chair and umbrella, and they just sit there and yell at you when you get close.
Okay.
Yeah, they like to hang out. They
Okay.
make sure you don't mess anything up.
Andy and I went out there with Jordan when this was going on. These guys are real anxious to try to get this problem solved, so.
I'll move to approve option 1 for TK grading for the amount of $53,000.
Second.
Okay, motion by Luke, second by Andy. Any other discussion? Please vote.
That was a topic the other day.
This only took how many years?
All right, I'm happy to say approved on that. All right, moving on to reports. We'll start with Derek. You got anything for us?
You guys just approved all the agreements, thank you for that. So, nothing too big to talk about. I did, I guess a benefit of growing up here and knowing some people is I ran into Scott Cheddar and Jim Axline on the way in. We talked about the 2nd Street project and caught up on other things. And then I know that the council, you brought that up as a concern last council meeting. So we talked through that, and after we get the survey done and get preliminary design going, then we'll meet with business owners there and make sure we're staging so they can stay in business throughout the project. Yeah, so we'll get started on survey on some of these other projects that you approved today. And then also we're excited to get that trunk line project going so we can seal up 38 manholes on the trunk line. So if we have any more flooding this year, it'll decrease the amount of stormwater getting into the sanitary system. So should be some good projects for the city. If anybody has any questions.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thanks.
Chief?
I don't have anything unless you have questions.
Marlis?
No.
No? Rhonda?
I don't have anything except for what Chief has my report.
Deb?
Nothing except what's in my report.
Ray?
Just real quick, Chief Fred Melvin is expressing his upcoming retirement plans. We do have a date, but we're kind of holding off till we can solidify some things. But I think it's significant. He spent 45 years in the fire service, and I was doing the math, and he's responded to 27,000 calls. So I don't know how we replace that, but I think as we get farther down, closer towards his retirement date, he will still stay with the department. I mean, we're not getting rid of Fred, but he's looking to take a role in support operations and stuff like that. And I think our town owes him a debt of gratitude. So thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, so Andy, I talked with you a couple weeks ago, or you brought it up about GIS on our website, so that's being worked on right now, and hopefully we'll have that in a week or two. And I'll have all of our maps on there. And Leadership Nevada, we have a tour tomorrow to go around on the city side of things and look at everything. Last week we had interviews for the planning and zoning, and then Flint Hills will be, hopefully they'll be able to get everything worked out in April, but chances are it'll probably be the fall is when they actually start moving the pipeline south of West A. So next week you'll actually see a purchase agreement for an easement on there. And then following closely after that, hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll also have all of the agreements with the DOT on that. I have yet to hear from the DOT on any appraisals or anything though.
Charlie, Sandy, how did coffee go? Yes.
It was coffee.
We had about 4 people in the room, or at the table, I should say.
It was, some of the problems that were brought up to us have been on this agenda.
Okay.
So we were able to say, hey, we're going ahead with this and this and this. You know, streets was a big issue. Speeding tickets, things like that.
Okay.
Rolling stop sign,
Some people.
all kinds of stuff.
Some people want the tickets.
Yeah.
For other people.
They were screaming about writing more tickets, getting a bit more revenue. Yeah.
April 4th is the next coffee with the council. I believe it's Sandy again and Andy.
Oh, boy.
Well, then you're done until whenever I do the sign-up sheet again.
I'm happy to do it.
I have a little announcement. I've been working, Rhonda knows about this, and Jordan and a couple of other people. There used to be something called the Nevada Betterment Committee a while back. It was kind of a volunteer task force to kind of do some just volunteer stuff around town. I'm bringing that back in some kind of form, a Neighbors Helping Neighbors kind of task force. I have some churches involved, some nonprofits, the Scouts, because they don't have a choice, they have to do what I tell them. And we're going to work with Parks and Rec and some other people around town, trying to help people that can't mow lawns, that have some kind of physical disability, or older people, just do stuff to try to help out the town a little bit, try to free up some of the time for Parks and Rec, doing trail cleanup and that sort of thing. So more to come on that. I'll be getting together with Rhonda and again with those heads to determine how we're going to select those projects. But be good for the town, be good for some of the volunteers that don't know what to do or where to go to try to do some of this stuff. So had quite a few private citizens reach out and say they wanted this. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with that. All right.
We had a Lincoln Highway Days meeting Friday, so we're trying to bring some different things, stuff we haven't done before at Lincoln Highway Days, so hopefully it'll interest more people, get more people to come down. Don't have it in concrete yet, so I don't want to say what it is, but Magician will be back again this year, food trucks and stuff. Wrestling's coming back again. Yeah. So if you guys missed the wrestling meet last year, I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but they put on a really good show. I actually enjoyed it. It was fun. We'll bring back the jelly ball blasters for the kids to shoot around. The Baptist Church, of course, will be back. But some other neat stuff that just haven't ever seen around here. So hopefully we get it and we'll let you guys know.
Oh, I had nothing new to report.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry, I skipped over.
No, you're fine.
Went to right.
This chair's low.
And Jennifer, it's the first time calling on you. Do you have anything?
Not at this moment.
Okay. All right. Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. We are going to, I think we're going to take 5 minutes and then we'll meet back here. Go ahead and call this work session to order. We're here to discuss a couple of different ideas for the dog park. I'm going to start with Rhonda first. Rhonda, do you want to tell us kind of what the Parks Board has in mind?
Yes, so I guess I'll start from the beginning. We've been discussing this, and Lacey Johnson is up here with me. She was a community member that became a park board member kind of because of this project as in the dog park. But 3 years ago, Lacey came to us at the park board. Jordan, Tim, and I actually met with her here over in the my goodness, conference room, and discussed the dog park, and very passionate about it, came with a lot of information. We were able to take that information in, and we told her, now is not the time. Okay, we need to wait. We have some things that we want to make sure get accomplished. We have some thoughts on some locations and where those might be. So we kept in touch over those 3 years, and we've looked at different viable locations. We've almost looked at every park location within the community. The old wastewater treatment plant was one of those locations. That's just not feasible from a timeline perspective, and it has been pushed out just because of the decommission of that. So there's a lot of other spots that have been looked at. We've looked at Mardine. We've looked at Harrington. We've looked at, I personally haven't, I know Billy Sunday's been brought up, but that is not a location in which we considered because of soccer usage there. Are there any other locations that I'm missing? I think we've looked at most of those as locations. So moving forward, we met with the park board, and we laid out some of those different options for those different locations, and the park board came to the consensus that they felt that Harrington Park would be the most logical place for the dog park to be. That being said, we did want to make sure that our city council members were on the same page, so we had a joint meeting. Was that in January or February? January. In January, we met with them, and Jason and Charlie were at that meeting, and all of our park board members were there. We discussed our goals and all of the goals that the park board set at the previous meeting, just to make sure that, or in October, just to make sure that we were all moving forward on the same page. During that meeting, I didn't hear anything differently, that we weren't moving on the same path. Since that meeting, we have been working towards securing some budgeting numbers. We've been working towards working with the foundation on a capital campaign. We've been working on getting essentially a concept for Harrington Park to make that a staple park within our community, again, as it was back in the 80s and 90s. And so that is really what we've been working towards, and the path we were on, as we felt that was the direction that we were basically told to go. So that's what we've been working on. I guess I don't know the other side of what this work session is. I was putting everything together to bring to your approval to keep working on this, to move forward on this. Probably we discussed it at our last park board meeting on March 4th. We were looking at having everything ready to go by the first meeting or the second meeting in April. So that's kind of where we're at with this project. I guess, is that the information you were looking for us?
Kind of. That gives us some background. The reason for the work session is that there's been concern regarding the cost, especially as in regards to Harrington versus Billy Sunday. And that's what I was more going to ask you about, was the range of cost for the Harrington site.
So for the specific dog park part of the Harrington cost. Our recent bid or estimate that we had for the fencing was $37,000 for that. A lot of the work pertaining to the inside of that, you know, I think we've talked at one time to have Boy Scouts or Eagle Scouts work on some of that. The city would be able to work on it. Charlie, we did find a hydrant for you. We just probably need to get it repainted because it's kind of chipped and beat up, but we did find that. And so the actual fencing alone for it was $37,000. I can't remember what the other ones came in. Some were, I think, around 43 or something, but I'd have to dig that information back up.
So that's basically why we called the work session, was we're looking at the cost benefit of, we have two different plans, we're trying to just have one as opposed to have two. So Charlie, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Well, I went down and looked. We had said to you at the meeting in January about Billy Sunday also. So I just went down and looked, you know, at the square footage and stuff. And I called the door and fence store up and told them, you know, I went over and looked at the Ames Dog Park and talked to 7 or 8 different people in the Ames Dog Park about how they run it and what they do with it. And I found out they have an app on their phones and it's $40 a year. And that way all the pets are licensed and veterinarian or whatever. And then, so they got 10 acres over there. They said that's way too big. They said, you know, you don't need as much room for this. You need to fence off for the small dogs, the big dogs or whatever. So then I went and looked at Billy Sunday Field. So I just drew some things in and I got some pricing. And I had a family come to me about wanting to pay tribute to their family, their mom and dad. And they said, can we get a road or a park or something? And I said, well, I don't know. You know, I don't know how the city does that, but I said, they're wanting to put in a dog park. Would you be interested in a dog park? And they said they would. And I said, well, you would have to, you know, in my mind, you would need to pay for the signage because of the, you know, the budget aspect of it. And they said we would pay for signage, benches, tables, and they've been in town for 80 years. And she went home and got on AI and came up with signage and everything for it. But I drew it out. So if you took the backstop, and there'd be an 8-foot gate or 8-foot tall, 4-foot wide gate in it, there would be a prep area. You would walk into the field. Off to the left would be a small dog area that's about 20 yards, or I don't know how many, 30 yards by 300 feet to the outfield fence. The other area is a large dog park. Then where the shed is that they put for the dugout warehouse, that could be fenced in and be a dog training area if that's it. But everything that I looked at, I know we need to move some soccer fields. GFS has, we've reached out to them. They're interested in letting us use land, not only letting us use the land, but deeding it over to us east of the building and across the street to the south on the corner. And if you're going to eliminate the one baseball field at Harrington Park, that could be made into the other existing soccer fields. But not knowing what the sewer and everything would cost, this would be about $35,000 to $40,000 complete, with the donor paying for the signage, the fencing to fence everything off, to separate the dogs is $14,543. Drinking fountains, 2 fountains for the dogs at $2,000 a piece. 1 fountain for adults and dog, that's ADA, is $55.65. Some waste stations, that would, for the bags and stuff, that's $983. The benches, tables, and signage would be taken care of by the donor, the city. We have trails there already. We have electric there already. We have water there already. We have sewer there already. We have a restroom that's closer. We have parking that's closer. And it would be square footage bigger than what we had planned for what you had planned for Harrington Park. And the family that had approached me about funding some of it. They have like a little more of an attachment to it because their father played baseball there and stuff, and they like that location and stuff. And they're here right now, and she had sent me some signage that she made up at home on her own, and the signs are approximately about $1,350 a piece, and she knows that, and they know what the tables and benches are. I assume that we're going to use some benches that we took off of Main Street. The heavy benches, are they somewhere when we replaced all those benches?
We may have a few, but once we moved those, they kind of fell apart.
No. Okay.
But we do have a few left, I believe. I would have to double check on that.
But one thing, I went out to Harrington Park the other day, and is any part of the berms that they built, is that involved in the fencing at
No.
Harrington Park? Because some of that's underwater right now, but.
Right. So first of all, I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate your interest in the dog park. I think that's wonderful. So thank you very much. In looking at this from the perspective of the community, I guess, and I don't want to speak for the community. I feel like about this time is about when I should let Lacey speak, but I just want to say a couple of things. I think that there's two different paths here, right, that we could potentially go. I think we need to look at the pros and cons of each location. I think that would be the best thing to do. I also believe that we do need to allow the capital campaign to take place and the fundraising for this, because it was for the entire park, not just the dog park. So I think that's an important component as well. But I do, at the end of the day, I think the pros and cons, and there are other entities down there as well. We have, there's been actually a lot of stuff that has taken place between the time that we met and the path that we were on. Regarding Billy Sunday Field and some of the soccer fields and things of that nature. So I think we got to look at the facilities and see what is going to be the biggest benefit for the community in the long term. And I think I need to turn it over to Lacey now, so that way she can talk on some of those things. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Yep.
Hey everybody, my name is Lacey Johnson. I joined the park board just last fall, and it's been pretty awesome. I got getting to know everybody in the community. Like Rhonda had said before, I just came up as a citizen. We got a dog, and we lived on a corner house lot, and it just seemed, questionable to have, my dog just, and I couldn't fence it in. There's fencing, regulations and stuff in the particular house that we bought. So we really, my husband and I really pushed to find a solution to, let her just go run and be crazy. And we looked and looked and looked and really just couldn't find anything within, half an hour to just go let your dog run when, we could create something here. So as, it was mentioned, I had a meeting with, just anybody from every department that could be involved, and it went really well. I was a little defeating at first just to know that, this was a big stop sign that nothing could be done right away, but I knew that we were here for the long haul, and my husband and I did not want to leave Nevada. We absolutely loved it here. We had a house situation happen, and it just really solidified how important this community is. So the background for me in this whole process has really been listening to what everybody else has to say, not about my opinions and what I think would be best, although I have a very high idea of what, shoot for the moon. And talking with a lot of community members over 3 years has really outlined a lot of different concerns that the community has. And, knowing that the wastewater treatment plant was the first, there was a huge concern about that being, essentially almost next to an interstate. And so that got in with a timeline of that got eliminated. But then looking at between Billy Sunday and Harrington Park, Harrington was the one that essentially the community members told me, like, hey, why can't we just put a park there? It's already there and it's just not really well used. So that became kind of one of the focus points of as I got into the board and we started hashing out where the locations were. We did a ton of research. We got a ton of public input. We did a lot of site evaluations. I know Ryan and I went out there and looked at it. And my husband goes out and plays frisbee disc golf out there, so we go out there and we've seen the flooding, what happens, but we've also been down to Billy Sunday and have seen a lot of that. So we got personal experience in there, but hearing the community talk about what they would see is really the driving goal for my stake in it, as well as what the board has kind of community decided. But ultimately, we want to serve the community as a whole. We don't want to isolate this just to one group or one neighborhood as a deciding factor. Between spending the time going through meetings and conversations, getting feedback from people, settling on those 2 locations, we had to decide on one. So we, as a board, Harrington really became the leading choice for a plethora of reasons. And Rhonda mentioned the pros versus cons, and I did put together, which I can share with the board. I also can send this digitally, but I do actually have pros and cons of what each location would provide. And we've gone over this for months, making sure we outline every possible idea. So kind of taking a look and breaking it down between the site overview, evaluating the criteria that would make this happen, safety, impacting on what the existing park is using, the space that is there, infrastructure and the costs, community feedback, environment considerations, and long-term maintenance. So there's a lot of criteria that we've reviewed to make sure that we did not miss anything in considerations of each location. The color kind of coordinations, sorry, I don't have, I have printed up for another council, but just seeing, kind of rating like a good, better, best of each location and what would give us that, yes, we've really made sure that everything has been considered. This really helps outline that. But ultimately, we have a vision to make this not just about the dog park. This is something that's greater. So yes, we have outlined all these things specifically for the park itself on the dog side, but there's a grand vision for what the Harrington Park could be versus just a dog park at Billy Sunday in between, soccer field and the 4-H building. Really making this something that people want to come to Nevada for and get excited about. I know there's a lot of young community members that don't have kids and their dogs are kids. We're one of them. And having that space be a part of something greater is a really good vision. And Rhonda really helped steer that. So I'm very thankful for her guidance on that. We've taken a lot of time to make sure this wasn't rushed. We did recently receive a very generous donor that has offered to help cover any discrepancies in cost between, saving the money on fencing at Billy Sunday to make sure that we have all brand new, safe, secured fencing at Harrington. So that was a big win for us that we just recently got, just a private donor. So we're really excited about that. We don't have a final number, but they're kind of waiting for us to tell them what, the final cost of the fencing would be. So cost-wise, full circle, we're pretty covered on that for Harrington.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. So
Yeah.
The difference between cost for fencing is covered by this donor?
Yes, that is correct. So as far as cost goes, that's one of the big concerns that we wanted to make sure we had covered, and we're pretty confident in a lot of other donors that have voiced their interest in supporting that. It hasn't been, we haven't really had anything solid yet to say, yep, this is the location, here's what our plan is. But Rhonda has worked really hard to find some different companies that can give us that information to publicly share once we have that all put together. And we were hoping to present that to the council either at the next meeting in April or potentially May. But aside from that, we don't really we're kind of at that next question mark phase of getting things solidified, but kind of where we landed. If you have any questions, I guess, I hope I didn't ramble too much.
I will add that last council meeting, the council did pass a submission or an application for a grant that we wrote, and so that's one thing that we would have to reach out to them and probably pull out of the grant because it was specific to that location.
That's kind of an area of my concern, and maybe that's my grant hat a little bit, but I mean, that was a key deliverable point on that grant. I don't know, how flexible that funder is, but it was pretty one of our main points in that application, and so I think that really kind of lends itself. I mean, we voted on that. It was presented before for that location. Well, I guess I do appreciate the idea of reuse of that space and creative reuse of spaces. I guess I just have some of the concerns, and I guess your document's very thorough on here.
Thank
so,
you.
With that location, I guess in mind for a dog park down at Billy Sunday, kind of for the reason that that shift happened with the new development, I guess, for the new ball diamond. But I feel it's a little bit of investment into that, and with the floods that we've experienced, I mean, the desire on this dog park is immense. I mean, it's been talked about for going on 6 years longer. I really feel it's an amenity that's going to be used and enjoyed, and I just have concern with that amenity being accessible, I guess, during floods, during fair season, tractor pulls, livestock trailers down in that area. That's kind of my concern functionally. I do enjoy the reuse of it, I guess, but I just have some concern as to that, and with Harrington and us stipulating that in the overall Harrington project, it concerns me if we were to pull that out. I feel that would essentially it sounds like we'd probably have to pull our full application for that project, which would impact the whole park in that larger picture.
And to make a note on the flooding situation, we recently did a little bit of research as far as like DNR goes and what the Story County Conservation outline looks like. And there's some things that we have to dig into a little bit more as far as like definition goes. But the DNR has some notes about not being able to have particular amenities in floodplains, and you're not able to add in any fill dirt. So Billy Sunday, you wouldn't be able to add any extra dirt to try to help alleviate some of that flooding. And there's a note about fencing, and that the fencing has to be movable, and structures that are placed cannot be permanent. Those also have to be movable and or on high elevation, and that's not really something that exists down there. So that was another point of concern, that if this did if it was included at Billy Sunday as an option, we'd be really, really restricted on what we'd be able to do with that space. And the whole idea that we really wanted to encourage was that this is not just a grass area that's fenced in. Like, we wanted this to be a destination location that people are really excited about. So having those items removed from Billy Sunday as, usable spaces is a big question mark.
As far as the flooding issue, I mean, we've got flooding problems at Harrington Park now too. I haven't seen it get up onto the ball field at Billy Sunday for several years. I think the last time I remember it being that high, my son played, and that was about 10 plus years ago.
It was underwater last year, but everything was underwater.
Yeah, but that's going to happen no matter where we go.
So
I think what she was saying is Billy Sunday and the whole county fairgrounds is classified as a FEMA flood zone, which is why we haven't built any houses around that area.
Right.
Whereas
Harrington, for that fencing there.
Yeah, which is Harrington is not in a flood zone, but.
And actually, that's why we did the. I had WHKS come and do the aerial, right, Derek? Okay, do the aerial last year when it flooded so much, to see how that SRF project impacted the park, and the water did not go into the projected area of the dog park at that location. whereas down at Billy Sunday, it was on the field itself.
My thing is just money.
Yeah, so are you looking at the overall cost of the whole entire
No.
concept or just the dog park?
$1,000 for the dog park.
Okay, so I mean, that was an estimate. I don't think
I mean,
it
if you
will
can
be
get
that
grant money and
expensive,
things
but-
like that to offset that, that's fine. I mean, we got a dog, we walk the trail.
Yeah.
But when we have roads and streets and everything, that I have a little issue with spending $100,000 for a dog park.
Yeah, and so Rhonda has talked with the foundation board about doing a fundraiser as well, so I think we will be able to raise the funds for it. And I do believe we will receive some grants. I don't know if we'll get the Prairie Meadows one, but I do think that there will be other grants available for it.
Yeah, the big issue for me is money. You know, I mean, I see a lot of things we need to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, my dog goes out every night somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and Harrington Park's closer for me. But all I'm saying, you know, 100,000 compared to 35, 40,000, big difference to me.
Yeah, and I don't disagree about
But I'm not,
the roads and stuff.
I'm fine with it, as long as it's paid for by grants and the.
Well, it sounds like there's a
$100,000
private
cost
donor
is-
that's willing to pay the difference.
What?
If that's what I understand.
I feel like the job of our board and the council is to choose, let the community speak and to choose the best location for the community, not just now, but into the future. And then I think when that location is solidified, which once again, I thought it was, I think we have that designed, and it's just like any project. You do your fundraising, you're obviously gonna want more, but if we have to cut some things out, we have to cut some things out.
I mean, that's the whole thing to me is money.
And that I don't think will be an issue. I think we'll, this is me just speculating, but I think with the park, the way the concept looks, I think it's gonna be a larger draw than just the dog park down at Billy Sunday. I think we're gonna have a larger draw and a larger donor base with everything that we're looking at Harrington Park. That's my feeling on that. I don't know if that's your feeling on that. Just from the public's, what people have said, I think we have a larger donor draw, and that takes nothing against what they want to do. I would love to actually show you a concept as well, so you could see what that might look like. So not taking anything away from what your donation might be, but I think we have a larger pool, and there's other ramifications in that Billy Sunday has become, I mean, there's Burke's put in the little crosswalk for the kids to go back and forth from soccer field to soccer field. That was going to kind of be the youth area, and from a park board perspective, we looked at Harrington as more of an adult type of park, and a lot of times kids and dogs don't mix very well together, and I think that was one of the other selling points of having it at Harrington. The frisbee golf aspect of it, there's just the trail aspect of it, all of that meshing all together was going to be, I think it could very well be a destination park, just like SCORE is. And it revitalizes a really neat park, and how it was first came about through donations and through Donnelly's and all of that stuff. It takes that, and it's kind of a revamp to that, and all the groundwork has been laid. All the groundwork for that has been laid. I just want to let you all know that I've done my due diligence on that, and I'm hopeful that we can let the bring the project back to you for you to see and look at once we get a few more minor details figured out, so that way you can take a look and see what this could actually look like and be, and how many amenities there could be there. And then if we get into the fundraising campaign and the dollars don't show then we might need to scale it back a little bit.
I do have one nitpick here.
Yep.
You have a pro and con of available stores nearby Harrington. I don't think GFS counts.
It counts to me.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. I can't read this. I don't
Giving you a
have
hard
glasses.
Dogs like a cup of ice cream somewhere. That would be
There you go.
a good plug. Yeah.
I mean, that addresses the dollars and cents concerns that I had.
So I guess the next step would be direction. What direction would you like staff to, would you like us to continue to move forward with the Harrington concept?
On your grant application, was everything in the grant application specified?
For the most part, yes, it was, but a lot of that work is going to be done by city employees with city equipment. So a lot of those funds, that's not a true cost of what it is. And then, yes, we have our employees that will be paying to do it. They'll be doing that during work hours.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about here, was the city employees were gonna do a lot. The only thing that wouldn't have been was the fencing.
It'd be my suggestion then for the Parks Board to move forward as you have been. Charlie? What do you think?
It's, like I said, it's about the money to me. I wasn't elected to be, I wanna be fiscally responsible. We got plenty of potholes and everything else in town.
Yeah.
If you use some money.
And so street
When
home.
we have a budget that goes to Park and Rec, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yep.
But what I was gonna say is, Park and Rec is out of our general
Right.
fund, streets is
Yeah,
out of the
I
separate
understand.
fund, it's not general, so we do have the money to separate those, and, that is one of the reasons why we bond every 3 years, so we can do several major projects for it.
When you bring it forward, will you have a total cost
Yeah.
at the time?
Yes. I showed the conceptual to the park board, and I asked them not to share it at the current moment because there's a piece missing that we've got to get taken care of before something goes public that shouldn't. And then those dollars and cents can come with it. And then we can hopefully move forward with with working with the foundation and our champions for that cause, to do we'll do a silent fundraiser first, and then we'll take it out for public. So that way we have it, maybe we're trying to match something or something like that within the dollars that have been silently.
And when do you expect that?
Well, once again, I think we need the concept, basically approved by city council, and to work towards that, so that way we have the budget dollars, so that way we can go back to the foundation.
I guess that's what I was asking.
Yep.
Do you plan to present next council?
No,
after?
no, it will probably be in April is when we would discuss. There's a couple of things that I need to make sure we get taken care of before we move too far forward. But I'm thinking in April would be feasible.
But I mean, the other thing is, the sign that you're talking about, was that the one that you shared with us?
What's that?
The picture of the sign?
Yeah.
I mean, we would still love to have that at Harrington if you're willing to. I mean, it was a great sign that was designed, and we'd love to have all that stuff. We still plan on doing I hope we have more than one fire hydrant, but we definitely have one, so.
Well, that's what the response was when I went over to Ames. They said their dog park's boring. There's nothing for the dogs to do other than run the fence.
And
So they said they don't even have any place to go pee, smell and pee.
So Charlie, that's one thing we don't want our dog park to be, is boring. Okay. If we're gonna do it, we want to do it the right way. That's our philosophy with
When I went over there, I
everything.
had no clue what I was going to go look at.
Yeah, Ames's
Said
dog
they're
park
trying to
is
get
boring.
in, and they said, no, you have to
A
have.
lot
to
of
have
dog
to get in.
parks are boring.
But I think that.
Not dogs, how do we know?
It's true. But I think what's been designed, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised in.
One of the things they
in
said
what it
over
is.
there was that when it rains, you're ending up in a muddy mess.
Yeah.
And the neighbor next to my son in Polk City, he put 4 foot of AstroTurf all the way around his fences, so when his dogs run the fence, there's no mud. And he said that's the problem with Ames, because the dogs all run the fence there because there's nothing else there.
Yeah, regardless of where you're at, there's always gonna be replanting necessary.
I guess I would just want to say, we certainly respect the work
Yeah.
of the Park and Rec Board.
Yes.
And in this great chart, when I get my other glasses on, I get it all in. I tried to use my camera and it wasn't quite big enough, but anyway, no, I can tell very thorough due diligence has been put into this, so thank you.
And we know there's a lot of safety measures and things of that nature, a lot of rules. We're going to be working with animal control. Dogs that utilize the park are going to have proper vaccinations, things of that nature. So there's a lot to it rather than just the location. There's much more, but once we get that solidified, I feel like we could start working on some of the other things, which I think are going to be vital to the success of the park as a whole. So.
Well then.
Well, I agree with Sandy. Whatever the park board, but that's how the system works. The park board does the work and brings it to us. I will say I've said since baseball ended at Billy Sunday that I thought it'd be a great location for a dog park, and I think I've said it to every person in this room at some point, for all the reasons that Charlie mentioned. The parking, trail access, fencing is already there, but it comes from the park board. So whatever you guys do, as long as costs are not outrageous, because I've seen some proposals or heard some proposals that are pretty high, but it's what the park board comes with. But that said, I don't know fencing. Can fencing at Billy Sunday be reused and moved so that?
So the actually the soccer club utilizes that area quite a bit, and they actually like the fencing because it stops the balls from rolling and going from different directions. So it does serve a purpose down there for them. Yeah.
Does it serve a $60,000 purpose?
Yeah,
or whatever?
I'm kind of curious.
I know the relationship with the park board and the soccer board is dynamic, but
we work pretty well together, the soccer club and us, and I think that as long as we have the dollars in order to put up the proper fencing that we need at the dog park at Harrington Park, I don't see a need as to why we'd want to remove that fencing.
Henry, Andy. Jason?
If we're talking about low costs to the city, then I'm not going to weigh in on it much.
Yeah, I mean, my issue was alleviated when you said you had private donor willing to match the difference in costs. So I mean, that kind of addresses the fence issue for Luke too. Somebody's willing to pay that. I think unless there's someone who disagrees, park board have at it.
Okay, that's the direction we're going to go then, or keep going in then.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Anyone else? Okay, close our workshop. All right.
Hold it down.
everybody.